Hey folks, welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Innova Electronics. Check engine lights can be a mystery. Sometimes you have no idea what it's trying to tell you. Some people will cover it up or unplug it, just dismiss it as a mystery. With Innova, you can easily identify both the problem and see what it takes to fix it, like having a personal mechanic in your pocket. Step 1, you scan the code. Connect your Innova ODB scanner, OBD, onboard diagnostic tool, and use features like hotkeys and patented all-in-one display. Scan your vehicle's onboard computers to detect for any malfunctions. In step 2, you can verify. With Innova's all-new Repair Solutions 2 mobile app, you now have access for free to over 60 million fixed solutions that are verified for accuracy by real ASE-certified technicians. In step 3, you can fix it. It doesn't just stop there. Repair Solutions 2 is the complete solution. In the app, you'll find troubleshooting information and even be able to order the right parts for the job. If you've still got questions, Innova's USA-based customer support team is always available to help 6 days a week. Innova tools speak your car's language, so you don't have to. You can buy Innova tools at Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, or any other number of brick-and-mortar shops, but if you use code TST at Innova.com, it's INNOVA.com. Use code TST and get 20% off and free shipping. That's code TST at INNOVA.com and get 20% off, free shipping. Innova Electronics. Find the problem, fix the problem. Innova.com. We are also brought to you by my favorite sunglasses, Dylan Optics, right here in Arizona. Not here, but like America here. They have the coolest lenses. They don't just look unique with their sort of fogged up anti-reflective material. They actually work great. Dylan Optics are like having HD life. I'm out in the desert filming, up in the mountains, driving sometimes 8-10 hours a day. My eyes would be super trashed if I didn't have a good pair of Dylan Optics on every time I got in the car. If you go to our website, thesmokingtire.com, and you click on the Partners tab, you'll see that Dylan Optics banner right there. Use that to get your Dylan Optics, and we will send you a free Smoking Tire t-shirt for your trouble, for supporting the people who support us. If you go to thesmokingtire.com and click on that banner, we will get you a t-shirt for supporting the people who support us. And also, you get yourself a really kick-ass pair of sunglasses. They've got aviator frames, plastic frames, all different kinds of color lens combinations. You can really kind of customize it to your desired combo to fit with any outfit. And we love our Dylan Optics sunglasses here at the show. Lastly, of course, proud to say this one, first one of the year, we are brought to you by Tradecraft Farms, the official ganja of the Smoking Tire Podcast. Boy, does that feel nice. These guys make some really, really excellent products for relaxing the mind and getting in touch with the body. And they smell good and they're sticky. All the things you're looking for in a good weed. If you're not in California, then I'm sorry to say this may not help you so much. But they have a great Instagram. Follow them at the Tradecraft Farms Instagram. You've got it on the screen. It's going to be in the description of all of our podcast episodes for the year. Yes, it's nice to be sponsored by weed. Tradecraft Farms is the official ganja of the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hell to the yes, it is. Ha ha! All right, on this episode, my friend Bozi Tatarevic, Serbian immigrant, master. I don't know if he's a master mechanic technically by resume, but he's certainly good at fucking fixing shit, swapping engines, finding interesting things about cars on the internet, and he's the king of what we call weird car Twitter. And he's always a great time talking to this dude. He's now got a gig working on an IMSA team, which is amazing. Done come up, and happy to get him via the satellite on the show. Bozi Tatarevic on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Well, welcome, Bozi in his house. Bozi remote from North Carolina. Are we in North Carolina right now?
I am in High Point, North Carolina, and we are live.
Good to see you, my friend. You're looking fit. Well, how's everything?
Everything is actually really good. I've done my little quarantine diet and exercise, and I've actually gotten healthier this year. So it's been good.
Dude, good man. Me too. My doctor was like, some people have used their pandemic time wisely. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen your pictures, man. Yeah, you're looking good. They got
I went down, and then I went down, and then I bounced. There's been a bounce. We're right now. We're here. Back here was like September, and now we're here, which is a bounce back up slightly. Fuck, you know what happened? They let me travel again a little bit, and that was not good. Because when you can't have the hotel gym on the road, all the hotel gyms are closed, so now you can't work out on the road. You're still drinking, but you're not going to the fucking gym at all. It's a problem.
Yeah, you're not making that calorie deficit. It's just stuff coming in, but not stuff going out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You still want to eat fried food because you're near racetracks and like that's what you do.
Yeah. No, I mean that's kind of, you know, my thing is, you know, I try to eat healthy, but then like, you know, especially like racetrack stuff, you get together with friends. It's nice, you know, to, you know, have some cheese fries or some wings or something, you know, with your beer.
For you, it's the biscuits.
Yeah, oh, definitely the biscuits. But
the biscuit enthusiasm is like very strong.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. I have some stuff coming on that. I actually have biscuit merch coming. So
biscuit merch?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck with the biscuit merch. I'm definitely gonna get some. We're gonna blow it up.
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff, but I'm partnering with some of the Styled Aesthetic that does a lot of the sports car stuff, and we're doing a whole line of things. So I'm pretty. excited.
Really? Is it gonna look like professional racing team like merch, but just for biscuits?
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Everything, all my Twitter bits, biscuits, the honey stand, all that stuff. We're gonna do a whole thing there. It's gonna be awesome,
dude. Speaking of merch, you notice what I'm wearing right now? What I'm wearing is my first ever merch. This is from 2005, and these are Ralph Lauren waffle like thermal shirts. And I had New York Motor Club patches made, and New York Motor Club was the car wash that me and Larry owned together. And then I got other like famous car. I got a Cobra one, I've got a Ferrari one, and this looks like I could have worn it in the pits in Le Mans in 1968. But I made this in Harrison, New York in 2005. It was my first ever merch. It's still got there's got a big hole in the sleeve. It's really hanging on by a thread, literally. But it's fun, man. The merch is sentimental.
Hey, it works and it looks cool. I'm actually wearing a blip shift shirt from like 2 or 3 years ago because I had gotten a little bit bigger and I couldn't fit in this stuff, but I still had it in the closet. So now I'm able to pull this older stuff out and wear it.
Blipshift.com/TST. Fucking plug it.
See, there you go.
Plug it.
There you go. See, we have synergy here.
So for people who are like, who is this random Eastern European? Bozi is the king of weird car Twitter. Weird car Twitter is a collection of individuals that discuss weird cars and weird aspects of weird cars on Twitter, right? This is a perfect name for the thing that it is. And Bozi's the king of it because he can, like, you could put a picture of a part and he can tell you, like, what, he's like a parts savant. He's like a parts sharing savant. He digs through patents and he finds information that is far too nerdy for the average person to take their time to find, but the average car enthusiast would love to see summarized as long as someone else found it. And there's a niche.
Sounds
for
like
this type
beyond
of content.
scavenging.
It's great content. Absolutely. Follow Bozi on Twitter.
It's the little things definitely add up, and I mean it's a lot of that's just my own nerdy personal interest, and then I was like, maybe other people want to see this, and then I shared a little bit. People are like, cool. So then I actually started using it in stories, and people really latched onto it. So it's kind of worked out, and I mean I found it interesting, and it turns out there's a whole group of other people that also find it interesting.
Yeah, and you use it to like work your way into like professional racing teams' pit crews, like, which is pretty awesome. Like that is a good angle to take to get you in a club.
Yeah, I mean it's a combination of everything, and I mean we've known each other for a few years, and you know how we met. You know, we met with the MX-5 Cup car when Jack and Charlie bought it, and we met in that house, and that was kind of my transition from just wrenching on cars and doing the occasional, track day alignment to like, let's figure out this full out race car. So for me, it's just kind of, my policy has always been just kind of try new stuff and be nice to people and see what happens. And it's tended to work out where, I've gone from, and, working on just, Miatas and AER cars to now working on in the top level of IMSA, which is, pretty badass.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like your Instagram shots of like the sidelines of races are fun because I know it's you. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like looking at like Larry Chen capturing IMSA. I'm like, oh, that's Bozi's over there. I wonder if he's got biscuits. I'm like, if Dale Earnhardt was alive today, he'd be like, Bozi, where do I get biscuits around here? Bro, hook me up.
We've actually had decently good catering. I think since I joined the Lexus program with Vassar Sullivan, we've had biscuits for at least one breakfast at every race. Awesome. So it's actually kind of worked out well. And I've done even a whole bit from the races just on food called my little snack view. So I'll take pictures of the food and take pictures of the snacks that we have basically, to carb up during the race for long races. And then I'll have a GoPro mounted on my helmet for the video people. And then I also use that for my own feed where I'll post video of me walking around like between pit stops going to get snacks, which, people love just, because they don't usually get to see stuff behind the scenes.
I like that you can like from the bottom up bend the catering to your will. like if you're going to affect something on a race team, the catering is a really good place to start. You know what I mean?
Being well fed, works out, but
you could affect the morale of the whole team that way.
That's what I was thinking. Keep the crew happy.
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, shit, man. They got good food this year. We're going to fucking win. We're good.
It all works together. But the team, especially with Vassar Sullivan and the Lexus RCF GT3 GTD program, it's actually helped me be healthier because I was kind of on a trend of trying to eat healthy during quarantine. And then once I joined up with these guys, just because it's such an elite level of sports car racing and the pits are just so, you have to be so fast and so good that like it motivated me to be faster just so I could be a better part of the team. And just doing these long races, I mean, on an average race weekend with these, 10 or 12 hour long races in 3 days, I may walk like, 35 or 40 miles, plus all the pit stops we do and all the practice stops, which may end up, being anywhere from 20 to 25 stops during the weekend. So
you're not walking around in driving shoes, are you? Because that's all the fireproof you can find. You got some comfortable fireproof shoes, right? Like a pit crew shoe?
Yeah, so it's not like AER where I just kind of had whatever. Now I have custom-made New Balance pit crew shoes that were designed.
Fuck out of here.
Gibbs Racing and New Balance together, yeah. So they're purpose-built just for what we do.
Bro, your fucking homie is the king of nerdy New Balances. You don't hook me up with your custom joints? Bro, 11.5 2E, get on it, son. I need to be representing this bullshit right now. Custom NBs? Bro, where are we at? We need to be in business together.
Well, you don't really want to be wearing this every day. I mean, they're better than pitting and driving shoes, but they're still thick fireproof shoes. So like it's even at the track, I have like 2 or 3 pairs of regular shoes when we're not in a situation where we need fireproof shoes, and then those are only worn in session.
Oh, really? They're not that comfortable?
No, I mean they are more comfortable than driving shoes, but still just because
but that's like that's like saying, that's like saying, well, this car is more comfortable than an Ariel Atom. Yeah, I mean, like driving shoes are really uncomfortable. They're like they basically, when you put on driving shoes, it accelerates the smashing of your knees. Like your knees just fucking disintegrate. Running around racetracks are the hardest places in the world, and you're running around in these shoes or nothing.
It's a shoe designed so that your foot is more sensitive, and then you go walk on pavement all day long.
You wear them for an endurance race. Be ready to drive at any time. Like, what? You wear these uncomfortable ass shoes for 24 fucking hours? God damn it. Okay.
Well, that's the nice thing about these pit crew shoes is we don't really need that feel of, the accelerator or the brake or whatever. What we need is to protect our feet when we're running around, with 50 or 100 pounds worth of tires, holding on to them. And for us, if there is a fire, to have that extra thick layer, of protection to protect your feet so they don't burn.
But do they look cool?
I mean, they're pretty nice. I wish I had a pair here to show you, but all of my shoes are inside the race hall, just because it's easier to transport.
Yeah.
But I'll send you a text with.
We demand satisfaction. I want to see them shoes. No, that's awesome. Next time, next time the team orders, I'll pay for my own, but I'd like a set of I would like a set of fireproof NBs.
Yeah, these custom NBs are kind of the gold standard now across IMSA and NASCAR, and pretty much most American racing series, and a few European series are using these same customized New Balances. But a lot of the Europeans also they have their Sparkos and stuff, but they're more like a driver's shoe, which I don't like.
Yeah, well, they're European. It's gotta look nice. The American, the Americans are like, oh, this is some comfortable ass shit. Yeah, the NB race shoe is like the F-150 King Ranch with a fire truck, a fire hose on the back of it of pit crew shoes.
It's kind of like that because the Sparkos are like slim and thin and all this other stuff.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, the New Balances are high tops with ankle support. So if I'm running around and I move around and I'm holding a bunch of weight with me with tires and stuff, it'll support my ankles so I don't get hurt. They don't look as pretty as the Sparkos, which I don't really care about.
The Sparko people are like, well, this is fabulous. This shoe is beautiful. I can wear this. I can wear this on the Riva on the weekends. I don't need I don't need other shoes.
Might roll your ankle, but you look cool.
What are you drinking there? What do you got? Red wine?
Yeah, so this is Educated Guess. Yeah. It's good stuff. I picked it up because the label looked cool. It had a bunch of numbers and formulas on it, but it's actually really good. It's I think like $25 or $30.
You're a smart man. I have been drinking that stuff for a couple years, and I saw it for exactly the same reason. I thought the name was funny, and then I drank it, and I was like, oh, shit, this actually tastes pretty fucking good. Yeah. And I've been buying it. Yeah, Educated Guess is nice wine. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's legit. And I've actually, so speaking of race teams, so Vassar Sullivan, one of my team owners is Jimmy Vassar. So that in itself is just badass, to get to work for a legendary racer like Jimmy Vassar. But then Jimmy also has a vineyard called V12 Vineyards up over there in California somewhere. So the last race of the season, he brought a bunch of wine, and we packed up and finished at Sebring, and then basically all the crew members got a bottle of his 444 wine, which was amazing. It's really good wine. So it was it's kind of cool to be able to work for him and to also get to try the wine.
It's quality swag. Bottles of wine, in-house bottles of wine is good swag. We found out. So my friend bought a property in California. It's not big. It's I don't know, a third of an acre or something, but it's got a big hill behind the house that's pretty much useless for most things. You can't hang out on it. It's really, really steep. But there's a company that will come and plant a vineyard there. Yeah, they'll plant a whole vineyard there, and they'll maintain it, the whole shit. You don't have to do anything. You just give them a key to your side gate. They do the whole thing. They plant it, they harvest, and then you get 2/3 of the wine, and they get 1/3 of the wine, and you get to put your name on the wine.
Whoa. That's amazing.
It's pretty awesome, right?
I mean, you have all this stuff, and you're like, I'm a vintner now.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you go out in the backyard hey, welcome to my totally legit vineyard. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's right there, yeah, and then you can have little picnics, and I mean, if you're trying to do, get that look for Instagram, you got that picture chilling in my vineyard, having a glass of wine, smoking a cigar.
100%. Instagram background all day, every day. That's perfect.
It's worth it just for that.
Yeah, yeah. The two thirds of the wine is the bonus. That's great. You get to put your name on it. Put some real fucked up label. I'd put some label that would determine if I had a real friend or not. If this person displays this bottle in their house, they are a real friend. if they peel the label off and chug it, decant it, fucking knock the bottle away, embarrassed. Yo, so tell me about this Lexus GTD race car though, for real. That's a sick race car you're working on.
Yeah, so it's amazing. It's a proper GT race car. So it's got wide body carbon fiber, so it keeps the center section of the street car, but then most of the bodywork gets cut away, and then the outside bodywork is all carbon fiber and extended, for the wider wheelbase. So it came
off the line as a production car?
I'm not sure exactly if it came off the line or if it has its own special area, but the body in white, kind of the center section of the car, so like the A pillar, B pillar, and some of the roof is an exact match for the street car. And then they build a cage inside and then build a body around it.
And the engine is 5-liter, but is it more or less powerful than the street engine?
It is about the same as the street engine right now, just because of IMSA rules and how they do balance of performance. So they have restrictors. I think unrestricted, it could theoretically produce, 600 or 700 horsepower, maybe. But right now, it's fairly close to the street car. So most of the GT3, GTD cars are in that 500 to 540, 550 range. And most, if they were unrestricted, could go into the 600 or 700s.
That fucking 5-liter V8. If I had to make a list of the 5 best engines you could buy in a production car right now, that would, accepting, $1 million craziness, that would probably make the top 3. That engine is unbelievably good.
Yeah, it's
so good.
It's legitimately awesome. And the race car engine shares like a vast majority of its internal components with the street car engine. So most of the modifications made to the engine are for race car reliability. So like, dry sump oiling system, air oil separator, stuff like that, where, you're just basically putting racing gear on it. And then, of course, like custom exhaust manifolds, headers, custom exhaust, just because of the way it exits. But a lot of the internal components are exactly the same pieces that you find on, the regular Lexus RCF street car. And the engine is mounted slightly differently than the street car, just because, part of it for balance, part of it for safety, but most of the components inside are, fairly similar.
But it's not like one of those Riley, crazy, chassis things where underneath the body there's like nothing. It's a roughly a production-based car.
Correct. Yeah. So if you look at a body in white and you look inside it, you look at, like, you can take a door from the street car and it will bolt on to the race car.
Yeah.
And you can
the race car looks pretty fucking good. What is the race? What is the weight that you make to race? What's racing weight?
I'm not sure right now, but it's like low 3000s, I think. It just depends on whatever the BOP tables are. And honestly, I haven't looked at what they have set for Rolex and the Roar, but most of the GT3 cars are in the low 3000s.
Considering how big that car is, that sounds light to me.
I feel like
that sounds super light.
It is. It's super light. And I drove the M6 GT3, which is like the biggest one. The M6 GT3 is like enormous. Or I guess it's an M8 now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I drove it when it was an M6 GT3 like 3 years ago. But it's basically, I guess, kind of the same thing now. But that's really enormous. This car's a little smaller than that, I think, right?
Yeah. So there's 2 parts to that. So the M8 right now races in GTLM. So GTLM is the class above GTD and IMSA. Mm-hmm. So those are a little bit bigger, and they're a little more kind of what you were thinking about, where they're more race oriented and really based on the street car. But the M6 GT3 is actually coming back, and the M8 is being pulled out. But the M8 is so big that there's that whole meme of hashtag big M8, where all these people online just make huge pictures of it just because it looks so big. So it's definitely has its
That's funny. Like the M8 as like Godzilla, like that's real. That's actually really funny.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So if some of those car Twitter accounts that make memes, that's a big deal. Even people that aren't really into racing, they know about big M8.
What we don't have at Westside Collector Car Storage, and we definitely need a car meme wall. We should definitely have a wall where we print out car memes and and fill them like as if it's a whole real artistic, installation. I think that'd be hilarious. All right. Tweet at me with some car memes, people, but make them high res so I can download them shits and print them. Okay, don't give me some low res, 144 by 144 bullshit. I feel like some car memes would really work on the wall somewhere in here.
I think that's probably a good idea, but you need to do fancy car memes, print them on canvas, not just print them out of the laser printer in the copy room, like canvas, just so they look respectable.
Yeah, no, we have I have a habit, because I was an art major and because I'm into mounting and framing and doing it, I I really overspend when it comes to framing. I don't just buy frames even at the art store. Like every frame in this place is custom made. Like, did I tell you? I don't know if you heard, I don't know if you listened to the show or not, but I was talking about Larry Chen gave me a print that's the size of this coffee table, and it's gorgeous. And it's like, it's Larry Chen. What do you do? I mean, it's huge. And I'm like, well, what am I? It's not a poster. It's art. And so I went to go. I had it framed. And do you want the museum archival glass? Well, yes, of course I do. And this is an oversized. Well, I know that it's fucking giant. And okay, it's $1,800 to frame one thing, which makes me an asshole or a very good friend that I would do that with a print that someone gave me. Like it's a whole wall. It's gonna be a whole wall over there, but a meme wall. Bozi,
it's an idea.
Yes.
You're on this. Yes. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. And speaking of Larry Chen, so talking about this whole time with the quarantine and kind of how car events have been canceled, there is been an adjustment in things. And I was talking with Chris Forsberg a couple of weeks ago, and him and his people did a whole virtual thing that I was just completely impressed with. And I know he had Larry Chen to take photos, but Forsberg is building a new drift taxi, and he's working with Valvoline, and some of the Valvoline people know me, and they told him about what I do. So Forsberg and his people actually reached out and did a virtual thing where they shared CAD drawings and all the things they did to build this new drift taxi. And it was just an impressive thing because I'm doing a whole story now without actually looking at the car, but having enough of the drawings and measurements to be I'm there with them in the shop.
That's fucking cool. That's so awesome. What's the taxi based on?
It's based on a Nissan Altima. So they took a Nissan Altima and 3D scanned the whole thing.
Wasn't it the M5 before?
What a bummer.
It's a BMW M5.
Yeah. But,
I mean, I guess Tanner's is a Passat. It's not like Tanner's is it's not like it's a Toyota Century these guys are drifting. I mean, nobody has a particularly cool taxi right now. But sorry, Bose.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing is that they took this Altima, they scanned it, and then they cut out the entire center section. And then using those scans, they designed, in 3D, a whole tube chassis that goes underneath it. And then they took a GTR powertrain and basically race spec, winners, rear axle and all this other stuff and put it under there. So it's basically a GTR sedan with an Altima skin on it.
Oh, that's all right. All right. Well, now we're kind of talking. Okay. Yeah. And that's a tube chassis car with an Altima body on it. It's not an Altima.
Right.
That just became wicked cool to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they kind of like Juke. Remember the Juke R? The Juke R was the shit. The Juke R was dude. I'm turtling, by the way, for you right now. Well, I can't use the verb turtling is gross. I mean, it implies poo. But I'm rocking, for those in the audio section, I could just see Bozi's rocking his Seiko turtle right now, and I am wearing the Seiko turtle as well because I knew you're a Seiko enthusiast.
We're matching then. It's good.
I just got the guys in Turkey who make these amazing straps. I have to send you one. They're called Bosphorous leather. Look at this.
Oh.
These beautiful canvas. Can you punch in a little there, Jay? Yep. These beautiful canvas with sandwich suede and canvas.
Yeah.
So I got them in a bunch of different colors. So these guys stopped making straps 2 years ago and only started making cases. And then they got back to me. That I had been tagging them in a million pictures. People had been emailing them about it, and they're going to go back to making straps. And so they just sent me 10 straps, and I will send you one, my friend, so you can have a winter swap for your Seiko. I'm going to send Johnny Lieberman one. He's all about his Sin watches now. He likes the German thing.
I've heard of those. I've never actually bought one or tried one, so
they're nice.
I don't know. I've heard good things about them, but I like the Seikos because they're kind of like my cars. I like those $30,000 Japanese cars because they work and you can kind of modify them a little bit to your liking, but still fairly reliable. So this one is not it's not modified a lot. I just got that strap code strap, and the rest of it's as it comes.
So this one that I'm wearing, I had fake aged by this guy whose name is Shadow Watchmaker on Instagram, and I sent it to him, and he acid aged the bezel, and then he aged the loom and the hands. It looks dope as fuck. It costs like 9 pennies. It looks amazing, and I'm having all kinds of plans for watches to send this dude to fucking play with.
Hold on. I got somebody who wants to say hi.
Is Boyan chilling?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna give him.
Yo, where's your brother at? Go get that fool. Oh, look at this clean shaven fuck right here.
What's up?
What's
How
up?
are you?
Are you fucking auditioning for a Marky Mark video? What's going on? How are you?
I'm just getting ready for. I'm doing well. How are you?
Bozi Tatarevic, Bozi's brother, is in the house. What's happening, brother?
Oh, just got home from the gym.
I can tell. Is it time for tanning and laundry?
It is.
You fucking look like the situation. I shit you not. You look like the situation right now.
I'm getting ready for. I'm getting ready for Miami.
Are you actually going to Miami?
I am this Saturday.
Wear a mask, dude. I just went down there. It was fucking shady as hell.
I actually saw a few of your posts. So, talking about the crazy stuff that you see on the street, the three wheelers, right?
So, in Miami, people, they have all these vehicles that apparently you can drive on the street, but nowhere else would these things be street legal. Real sketchy little trikes and like things that look like bumper cars but have license plates on them, and
Seriously?
all the Polaris slingshots in the world, and I saw like a fleet of like 10 vehicles at a red light, like none of which would be legal in California.
super loud music, right? Usually in groups.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
I know. I've been to Miami probably 6 times in the last 2 years, and every time it never fails. It's always entertaining. But yeah,
Florida is the land that safety inspections forgot. You can register anything at all on the road in Cali. You got tractor? Yep. Horse? Here's a tag. Like whatever. Like go-kart? No problem. What is that? A wheelbarrow? Here you go. Sequential plates? No problem.
But the interesting thing is, you look at the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the McLarens. You look at the license plates, and of course, it's Montana.
Yeah. Because even Florida has a little bit of registration taxes, whereas Montana has none. Or they're rentals, which is they're in Miami. If you go down there, you see some Jersey tags. That's the Gotham Dream Cars fleet. I was just there. Like, here's what's weird, because I was just there. They closed. What do they call it? Like the road on South Beach in front of all the bars and stuff.
Ocean Drive.
Yeah, so you can't drive on that right now because they have all the outdoor dining and all that stuff.
Oh, it's all
and
patios.
No cars. So it was actually kind of interesting because you can't like floss on that street anymore. So now everybody's flossing on Collins, and it's
Collins,
weird.
Okay.
You're further from the water.
Yeah, it's really strange.
It's weird.
Yeah, I've stayed on Collins many times, and I mean, Ocean Drive is where everybody goes to be seen, right?
Right, but now you have to be seen on foot. You cannot be seen in a car on Ocean right now. You have to be seen on foot only.
It's gonna keep moving. The next street over is gonna be Washington. That's like the next.
Right. It's just gonna keep expanding.
The next.
We had fun in Miami though. Curated. My friend Vinny works at that place, Curated, which is a vintage supercar restoration place. So they had all kinds of crazy weird shit down there we were looking at.
So that's open, correct?
Yeah, they're open. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go check it out. I've never been there, so I was just curious if it was open.
Have you ever heard of a Chiseta Marauder? Because they have one there. It's a transverse V16 supercar. Wow. It is the weirdest looking car ever, and the engines are medium hot garbage. Engines, by the way, because it's 2 V8s that are stuck together at the crank. It has 4-cylinder heads. Yeah.
What's it called? I'll pull it up.
It's Cizeta. You don't have to worry about the model name because they don't have more than one.
There's only one.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Oh, this is the thing we looked at. The Diablo.
Yeah, it was the design study for the Diablo that got rejected.
That's right.
And he built it out of spite. I like a car built out of spite, though.
Listen, if I can literally go to Miami and just like stand on the street the entire day, and I'll be entertained by what I see from the different types of people to the cars that come through. It's pretty fascinating.
No, Miami culture is hilarious. And this time, the time I, other than the fact that nobody was wearing masks, that bugged me out. But to be in Miami and not the dead of summer is excellent. It's right. It's right. It's all that's right. All that's right with the world is Miami in January.
Do you ever go to Wynwood?
Yeah, it was great. Except I just cruised through there, and like a lot of businesses were closed. It was way less, popping than the last time I was there. It's really cool hood though. There's a place I like called Walt Grace Vintage that sells cars and guitars, which I think is neat.
I've actually been there before. It is pretty neat.
Cool spot. They have a good selection of guitars too. I almost bought a guitar, and then when I was in there this time, and I was like, "What are you, an idiot? You have a guitar that you don't play. Don't buy this. What's wrong with you?"
I'm sure it's also a little bit pricey, right? Not the cheapest thing in the world.
What I was looking at was very cheap compared to the things that they sell there. But in general, the things that they sell are on the higher end, I would say. Yeah. Look at Jay adjusting my shot because I don't look so good right now. That's me. It's me in my frumpy shirt. It's not the shot, Jay.
Matt, I have a very important question for you.
Uh-huh.
How are your cats doing?
They're the best. Conrad and Pico are about to be 16. They were both born in January of 2005. So they're about to be 16, and then Nikki and Finn are definitely adolescent cats right now. They're 1.5, and they're right in the middle of adolescence. So they are finding ways to sneak food, and they want lots of attention, but not too many hugs. They're right on line. They're right on line with teenage cats. Yeah. But all good. Everything is kosher. Yeah, everything's good. They all get along. It's nice. Okay,
so the young ones get along with the elderly.
Oh yeah, they totally do. It took a couple months to get there, but they do. But Hannah and I bought a new house, and so it's like gonna be a while because we had to do some reno. But like in about 8 months. So when you move into a new home, and there's not established scents, there's typically like what corporations would call a reorg, where the hierarchy gets kind of adjusted, and so we suspect that when we move into the new house, Finn may move to the top of the hierarchy and bump Conrad off his throne. Because Conrad's like, he's down to like 10.5 pounds, which is very healthy for a senior cat, but he was like a 13, 14-pound cat at one point. It's fine, Jay. It's okay. Senior cats get skinny. It happens. He's fine. But Finn, who's 1, is almost 15 pounds. He's a big boy. So at the new place, when there are not established scents, the odds are that Finn will be the king of the castle.
So do the cats pick favorites?
Favorites?
That's
cold as ice. Favorites. They could be listening. What if they're listening? That's fucked up.
Sophie's choice.
What can you do?
Conrad, Nikki, Finn. No. No. I can't pick favorites. They all have their own personalities. They're all fun. They really are. They really are all fun.
Do they pick favorites as far as like one gravitates towards you?
Oh yeah. Conrad and Nikki are daddy's cats, and then Finn and Pico are mommy's cats for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, how can I ask you to pick favorites, right?
I won't, but they will. they will happily pick favorites. They're like, fuck you. I'm gonna go with daddy. Yeah. Awesome. It is like that. Are you working in fucking cars right now? Are you on the flip game still?
I am doing my own thing in finance.
All right.
I kind of ventured out to do some things in a little bit of investing. So
all right.
I quit working for other people and decided to work for myself.
Well, if it results in you looking like the situation, I think it's gone well. Give me a week or two so I can get my tan on in Miami, and then we can. And, yeah. Call me post Miami. You'll be 10 pounds heavier, but you'll be tan.
And I might need to stop by the grocery store to pick up a tub of gel for my hair.
Oh, for sure. If you have any, then you're golden, unlike your brother.
Genetics play a part as well in my hair. So
yeah. Put that bitch back on so we can talk cars.
All right.
Good to see you, homie.
Good to see you guys. Bye.
Bojan Tatarevic, the brother. So Bojan used to work at a Ralph Lauren place in North Carolina, at like a distribution center in the executive level there or whatever. And he used to indirectly work for my old man.
Is that how you guys met?
No, I met him from doing car shit with Bozi.
Oh wow.
They roll in packs, these fucking Serbs.
I thought they were brothers. I thought they were legitimately brothers.
They are legitimately
okay.
brothers.
Yeah,
no, they're actually brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. What up?
Yeah, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. We have small groups. Just look for the Adidas tracksuits. You'll find us.
I got a fucking my wife wanted us to do one of like a fun wedding picture of Adidas tracksuits. So we all went out and bought like really dope designer Adidas tracksuits that we wore one time. But the next time I see Bozi, I'm going head to fucking toe on this shit.
Hell yeah. I have different versions. So I have kind of my light suit, for summer days. Then I have a slightly kind of middle of the way suit for fall, and then I have a fleece lined one for winter. And you just
Fleece lined?
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were kidding.
Fleece lined is what's up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it works. Like if you see me on an airplane, I will be in an Adidas tracksuit. Like, hold on. Actually,
While he gets this, just so you know, he's got the pants going. He does. He's got the Adidas track pants.
It's like my everyday leisure wear is these are the very light track pants because I got the heat going in the house, so these are like the summer versions, but. Like it's really comfortable, so like it's something
That's
that
awesome.
I wear all the time.
Oh man, if you see me on a plane, I would be top to bottom Kuji. I just flew with full Kuji, and it was delightful. I love it. I love the soft leisure wear for planes.
Those looked really nice. I know you had a picture you showed me at one time of that full Kuji setup, and it looked really good. Like I looked into it. The budget is a little higher than the Adidas.
You have to you can't wear it for dirty stuff. You have to. I mean, I know flying is semi-dirty, but you have to actually kind of take care of that. That's the problem. It's a high maintenance outfit.
It's not a sweatsuit.
And I only have I have one. I don't have like 7, Kuji tracksuits. Although I get a lot of compliments.
No, it looks good. I remember the pictures you showed me. It looked good, but I have a bunch of this Adidas stuff, and if I have to throw it away, it's not a big deal because the top and bottom together are maybe like $60. So it's not
it's available.
Yeah, it's not a big, and I can go to Costco. I buy a bunch of it at Costco because they carry Adidas track pants, and it's I go buy the big jars of Nutella and a pair of track pants.
I've never been able to find track pants that didn't drag on the floor and get under my heels. You know what I mean? I guess you got to tailor them or something, or just roll them shits up.
See, I'm a pretty good fit for that. So mine, I'm looking at these are pretty solid. So they have a little wear, but I think it's that torso to leg ratio. Mine works perfectly for track pants, which could be why all the people from my region of the world wear track pants just because we're genetically built for it, and it's not as popular here. But my ratio is good. But if you have more torso, then a lot of times it doesn't work.
That's awesome.
He's done the math. That's amazing.
I just thought of a game. I wanna get a game going with the live audience. Get in the super chat, and we're gonna play a challenge Bozi game. If you have an idea to challenge Bozi, get in the super chat and we'll play that for a few minutes because his nerddom is vast. It's vast and wise.
I'm interested to see what these people can come up with.
Yeah. What is the most interesting thing to you about racing during the pandemic? Have they had to change a whole lot, or other than wearing masks at the track, is that pretty much it?
I mean, there's a lot of restrictions, and they've done a big part to try to keep everyone safe. But honestly, the weirdest part is for a lot of races just not having fans there. So I'm used to having fans. IMSA is open, so if you get a ticket, you can be in the paddock walking around the garage. So I'll be working on something, and there'll be 6 people standing behind me looking at what I'm working on. And now with a lot of the tracks, not having fans, it feels like a test day. So, it feels like, we're just there to test the car because there's nobody, there's people watching on TV, but there's nobody there with us to watch, or nobody in the stands or, in the campers or whatever. So it feels weird. And like the whole process is very, very segmented and, very, very strict with, like, when we go to the track, of course, we have to wear masks. There are limits on how many people can be at the track for each team. And then everybody has to individually register for every single day you're at the track. So like, it's not like you can just show up and show, your hard card or your shirt for your team. Like a week before you go to the track, you get a survey with like a medical questionnaire. You have to fill it out. And then when you finish that survey, you get a QR code. And then when you show up to the track the first day, they have to scan that QR code, make sure it's you. Then you go to a temperature check. And then you get another questionnaire the same day. And every single day that happens. So there's like a lot of procedural things that happen and a lot less people at the track. So it's a very different experience than, what I've been used to in years past.
Yeah, racing without fans kind of doing any sport without fans kind of sucks. It's just
Losing
weird.
that energy?
There's just the vibe is not there. There's no like, you know what I mean?
What are we doing this for?
Yeah, exactly, right? But it's not like a bubble situation though, right?
It is it's not a full bubble like a lot of other sports, but like we are, like when we're there at the track, we're in our own bubble. And then there are bubbles for other personnel. So like PR people, photographers, and crews are each in their own bubble. So a lot can't cross. So like a PR person can show up to the track and they can go to the media center. And at some tracks, they can go to a fenced off area, but like they can't interact with us directly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of like segmentation for them to try to keep people apart. So if somebody does, get sick, it doesn't spread to everybody. So, they try to keep the team separate and, there's a lot of very strict procedures and kind of, basically doing as much as they can to try to keep everybody safe. So, IMSA's done a pretty decent job of that and, how they've tried to, keep us safe so we can keep racing. So, everybody's livelihood can continue on. And so the series can, have some racing this year. And, it was a decent deal because all the races were done. So it's,
What was the condensed time frame though?
It was, there was a lot of stuff that was delayed. And then kind of towards the back end of the year, September, October, November, a lot of races were made up. And a lot of races that were further away were moved to other places. So like Charlotte Motor Speedway wasn't initially on the schedule, but it was added to the schedule to make up for a race, I think, in Canada. So like, because, it's not really good to go over the border. And same deal with New York. Like at the time we were supposed to race at Watkins Glen, the rules up there wouldn't have allowed it. So they rescheduled that race and that was moved to like Road Atlanta. So for me, it wasn't terrible because most of the races ended up being in the Southeast, so it wasn't very far, but a lot of things had to be moved around. And there was a lot of back-to-back where you finish one race, go prep the car, and then 2 weekends later, you're at another track. And it's, it was a tight schedule, but it worked out. And it was, everybody did the best job they could. And it's, from my point of view, it seemed like it was, successfully done and safely done because there weren't any issues and, the procedure seemed to work.
Yeah. Do they, the restrictions on the number of people, did that mean you had to race with less people than normal, or you just couldn't have like random family members and shit also coming to the track?
There was, in many cases, it would mean that you would have less personnel at the track. So like the limits there allowed for like the really core people. So basically, like team owner, team manager, drivers, and crew. And then, so that means, and in a lot of cases, if you had a bigger crew, it might mean that the team manager might drop off or that the team owner might drop off. And in most cases, it meant that like PR people or photographers would drop off, at least in the early races. Later on, they added a couple of spots, but basically anybody that wasn't directly involved in racing the car or servicing it in some of the early races, that was like the limit of the roster.
Yeah. I'm glad they figured out eventually that outdoor things are pretty much okay. I'm glad they figured that out. Like, you can have people outdoors that are spaced out, and that's probably all right. Because if that continued, when the beaches were all closed and stuff, it was like, all right, this doesn't seem to be helpful. But I'm glad they were able to keep racing, though. Does it seem like the season's over? It must be, right?
Correct. Yeah, we finished at Sebring a couple of weeks ago.
How did your team do in the points? I'm sorry I didn't.
We finished. I think we finished third.
That's good.
We finished third in one championship, second in another championship, and we won the Sprint Cup championship, which is all the short races. So this hat right here is from the Sprint Cup championship. So we finished first there. We went into Sebring with just a couple of points away from all the championships with the chance to win. But a few hours into the race, one of the C8R Corvettes had a coolant leak, and they're the class in front of us. And we were running first and second in our class, and the coolant, or that's what we think is coolant, that's what my understanding at least, the coolant spilled in front of us, and both of our cars spun and went into the wall.
Oh, no.
And that unfortunately ended our day in like hour 4, at least for my car. We helped fix the other car, and we got that back out, and that car still ended up coming back and finishing like 9th. But that kind of ruined our chances of winning the championship. But we still finished like second and third in most of the championships, and won one of that Sprint Cup championship we were able to win. So we won 1 out of 5 and top 3 in the rest of them, I believe.
Well, that's pretty strong, man. That sounds good. That sounds
like a nice
excellent. Yeah. What does it take? What does it take to total out one of those cars? If that car spun into the wall, that car is going to live to race another day, I imagine, right?
Well, one of the cars is, and I believe the other one, I'm not sure. It just depends on how much a new car costs to build versus how much it costs to put this car on a jig and straighten it out so it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, and that's, these are, all of these cars are in the 6 figures. So, if you're getting, it's kind of like a street car, if you're getting 50-60% of the way there to a new body in white, you might as well buy a new body in white and start with something fresh,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It just depends.
Gnarly. Just wrecking out. I mean, just to think about wrecking out race cars and having to just, there's 150,000. Like,
it can be tough, but that's racing. I mean, it's, it happens to everybody, and, unfortunately this was out of our control, and, we wish it had gone differently, but if you're going racing, you kind of have to expect that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you like the level of intensity at IMSA, or is it is it the kind of thing that you're really getting into?
Oh, I thrive on it. I love it, especially these long races. So like, I've never done a 24-hour race, and now with Vassar Sullivan, I'm gonna get to do the Rolex 24, and like, it's a month away, but like, I'm already hyped. Like when like, it's, I don't know how to explain it, but like, for us, we're dual purpose. So we do mechanic work, setup work, and then the same people pit the car during the race. And those, few seconds where you're in control of what happens in the race, where, you going over the wall, changing a tire, fueling the car, or doing anything else, doing it half a second or a second quicker could gain your car a spot or 2 spots or 3 spots on the racetrack. It's just like a whole like different level of thrill. And, and it's hard to explain, but like getting up on that wall, watching the car roll up, you're just kind of like in your own world for a moment. Like it's like everything else just becomes quiet, and you just click things off, and then you go back, and it's just such, like, it's a really good feeling. Like, I love it. Like it's great.
I get that. What is your job during pit stops? Tires?
So so I'm a tire carrier and also kind of a utility person. So for most pit stops, I carry tires to the outside of the car. So those 2 tires, I'll run out there, mount them, and then there's a tire changer that'll put the lugs in. And then during longer races, I'll also do utility stuff like pulling the data stick out of the car, which like holds the data logger, swapping it out, or making adjustments to the rear wing if you want to change the angle. Or there's an external oil fill system. So like for the very long races, if it needs extra oil or something, there's a setup where I can fill the oil. But basically, tires are the main purpose, and then utility for the rest. And like I said before, like that's helped me get more fit. Like going into that, previous teams I've worked with, I fueled. So it wasn't as much physical activity, but this jumping off the wall and trying to run and carry 2 tires that are 50, 55 pounds a piece and do all that in, 8 or 10 seconds, run back and forth. Like you need some stamina, and like that pushed me to kind of get better. And then on my own, I wanted to get healthier. And like now, since I started the program with the Lexuses, I lost 25 pounds. Like it's that much intensity.
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm like, it's really cool. Like, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I just had a fucking question about it. Do you carry them over the wall? Do you then physically put them onto the studs, or do you just hand them to the guy?
I physically put them on the stud. So if you pull up my Instagram, like I'll tell you right now, if you guys can pull it up on the screen, if you go, I think it's like 8 or 10 posts down, there is an actual pit stop view that I have from the GoPro that I have on my head.
Oh yeah, right, probably in the middle there. Yeah,
Yeah,
here
so
we go.
look for the night
cool.
video. Yeah, so there's a night video of a night practice stop, and you'll see exactly
Look
what
in
I
the
do
middle
there.
there, Jay. That row right in the middle. This guy. How about this? Like this? Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's lugging tires to the outside. Tire off. Bozi's tire on. Now, so you drop one by the front, put the other one on the back, then go back and put the front one on after that.
It depends on the choreography. Sometimes that front one goes straight on, and then I run back and grab the other one. It just depends on what we're doing for that specific stop. And stuff like that is like, you have to be prepared in the moment, depending on what else is happening around the car, because sometimes drivers are changing, sometimes other things are changing on the car. So you adjust your choreography in the moment to basically do it the fastest way possible without getting in each other's way.
What's a good time for a stop like this?
It depends. So we have we have minimum fuel time. So that's kind of our goal. So if we're doing a full fuel, then it doesn't matter. And then the other times where we can short fuel, we do try to do significantly less than that.
What's the minimum fuel time?
I think right now it's like 43 or 53 seconds. I can't remember. So like all the stuff, like the tech specs are being updated for next year. So, whenever all that stuff comes out, we'll see. But yeah, there's plenty of time. If we're doing a full fill, there's plenty of time for everything. But where the quickness comes in is if we're doing a short fuel.
Yeah. That's fucking cool, man.
No, it's
That's
a lot
awesome.
of fun.
You got to be careful with your back. Don't don't hurt your back doing that.
Yeah, no, I try to train for that, and try to train at home to protect my back, and that's been a big focus for a while for me, just in general, working on cars, is to protect my back. And luckily here, like I have good position where I'm doing everything from basically from my legs.
Yeah.
So it's when I'm mounting tires or doing anything else, like I'm crouched down and mounting it from the side instead of trying to go forward where it's putting pressure on my back. And it's very rare that I have back soreness. Like it's more common for me, for my quads or something to be sore.
Yeah.
Which is a
Someone
good sign.
asked me the other day what it was specifically that I didn't like about working on cars, and I think I just thought of what it was. It's laying on the ground. It's getting down, laying on the ground, and then getting back up, and then getting back down, and getting back up. That's probably it, I think. That's probably my least favorite thing about working on cars.
I can understand that, and just going up and down, it can be a pain. The nice thing about these cars is they have air jacks.
Air jacks are great. Yeah.
Air jacks are legit because you go to the car, stab it from the side, it lifts it up, and then you basically have these safety rings that you slide around the air jacks. So if it were to deflate, they're kind of like jack stands. They just sit around the cylinder.
Yeah.
And it's just a safety. You work on whatever you need to work on, pull the safeties, pull the hose, car goes down, it goes off.
How much did it make you want to put air jacks on your own car? I mean, I wanted air jacks on my own car so badly. Makes your life so easy.
So it is convenient, but you also have to service them. So it's
good point.
And you also have to put safeties on them. So I mean, it's convenient and they're expensive. It's tens of thousands of dollars for a professional system. So it's
Can't
cool.
you get them off one of those cars that spins into a wall?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Takeoffs.
It was always the weight that kept me away from it. Do they weigh a lot?
They must weigh a lot.
They're not terrible. I mean, it's like the weight of the air jacks is a consideration in the weight of the car. So if a race car has a certain minimum weight, the air jacks are considered, and then they can take that weight out somewhere else. And they're down low, so they're not a significant deal. But the single cylinder, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 pounds.
It's not so bad.
Wow, it's not bad at all.
That's not bad.
You have, depending on the car, you have 3 or 4 of those, and then plus some of the lines and
pounds.
stuff. Yeah, maybe it's not a huge deal.
But still, you definitely want to be able to go tss, that's the thing you want for sure. It's a useful thing.
I mean, it's it's fun, but it's expensive, so I wouldn't want to personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what I like on my 911, my 80s 911, it's got that square hole in the lower side of it underneath the body where you just shove this thing in and it's got like a hockey puck on it and you just jack up the whole side of the car on that exterior now mounted puck, which is fabulous. It's a really easy, it's a very easy solution. That's got to be some Le Mans shit right there.
Could be. I mean, that's handy, and it protects the underside of the car because, like, you know, when I had a shop just working on cars, like the things you saw come in for where that rail underneath was just chewed up, like it was very, very common. Just people not knowing where to put the jack, not knowing to look for the pinch welds, so they would just jack up wherever they could, and then that whole piece underneath the car was, you know, completely, you know, wrinkled up.
Yeah, I hate that shit. Looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Yo, the people are speaking. We have many opportunities to discuss weird car shit with Bozi. I want to get to some of these. You ready, Bose?
Let's do it. What we got?
Pierce, thank you for your update. Jonathan says, I own a 2017 WRX, but I'm running into problems even after repair under a warranty. I'm thinking about moving to another car. Should I get a Veloster N, brand new, or a heavily used Cayman or C7? Oof. I would say brand new Veloster N.
Yeah, that's a question of maintenance budget. Do you want to spend X amount for a maintenance budget, or do you want to spend 5 times the amount for a maintenance budget?
Right.
I mean, that's basically where that question is. And if you're coming out of WRX, I would say Veloster is probably your good choice there, because I mean that's, you know, it's ideally a WRX, and, you know, if I was considering something in the same bracket, Veloster N seems like a decent choice.
I was impressed, Bose, when I saw that you stitched your own steering wheel cover. That seemed hard.
It was actually not that hard. It was just very tedious. It took 5 hours or 6 hours, and me and Boyan actually made a video of it, put it on our Boost Brothers channel, where basically go through the whole process. But it's not complicated. It just takes a lot of time because there's like a million little holes that you have to stitch through. But after I did it, it actually was very nice. And like, even, you know, it's been almost a year now since I did it, and it's still holding up well. The only issue I've had is the red stripe up top has kind of started to fade. But other than that, like, it feels like so much better than the factory cover. That's
amazing. That does seem super, super tedious. Let's see. All right. Your Jonathan, it's your maintenance budget, and a C7 is not, quote, just a GM. Corvette maintenance is more expensive than regular GM maintenance. Christian says he would like 15 seconds on the Buick Park Avenue, please.
The Buick Park Avenue is a wonderful vehicle. It was available with the classic 3800 V6, which is one of my favorite engines. I got my license in a Pontiac Bonneville with the 3800.
Yeah.
Park Avenue all the way.
The Bonneville with the 3800. Yeah, I'm pro Buick Park Avenue. It's so bad that it's good. Wow. And it's got a bench seat. You can bone in it. That's good.
That work?
Scroll down, Jay. Nick says, thank you for having a great Twitter, Bozi.
Thanks.
Vlad says Bozi's Twitter was the first place he learned that biscuit doesn't always mean a cookie. Oh, you're French. Yeah, that's true. Biscuits in the South don't mean cookies.
Yeah, I try to explain that to the Europeans. The British are really stubborn about it, but the message is getting across that it's not always a cookie. I have arguments like early morning hours when, you know, people in Europe are awake. They argue with me, calling them scones, and we go back and forth. It's fun, but they need to know their place.
A biscuit is like a scone, but it has a lot more butter and moisture in it. Scones are like meant to be dry and dense.
Yes, it's like a scone, but good.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Alan says, what classic car would you swap that Lexus 5-liter into?
That's a good question. There's a lot of choices, but I would probably put it like in a late 80s Supra, just because I like that body style. And just put it in there, and nice exhaust, put like a 6-speed box with it, and, you know, go.
That could be fun. His suggestion is good. The suggestion was a wide body Gen 1 Celica, which I like. I would say early 80s Supra, like the 83, like the slanty back one. Yeah. Yeah. Nick Rogers says, oh boy. Okay. Early water-cooled Porsches are all Fiesta ST prices right now. How much of a maintenance emergency fund would be needed for one? I don't want to act hastily. A lot.
If you're asking, it's probably not the right place to look.
Yeah, I mean, a lot is the problem. The reason, a Porsche gets that cheap is because something to fix is that expensive. Yeah. It's those Boxsters, they have the gearbox goes and or whatever, and you basically have totaled the car.
I just wouldn't want to deal with it. If you have like whatever the car costs plus that amount to like fix it and mess with it, and you want it as a project, buy it. But like if you have $8,000 and the car is $7,000 and you want to use it as a daily, it's probably a bad idea.
I agree, especially with a Boxster and a Cayman, because a lot of otherwise simple things require like an engine out. It's just something that requires shit you just can't do. Like even if you wanted to wrench on that kind of thing, you gonna drop the motor in your house? Like get the fuck out of here. So that's the problem. Nico says, how do you find obscure part numbers? I work for one of the big vendors, and our master interchange is 700K part numbers strong, but I don't know what I would do without it.
A lot of it's just like that, basically. And a lot of it's just using aftermarket catalogs. So there's, a lot of it's looking at databases that basically junkyards use. So like junkyards use like Hollander and a few other ones. And the way these are set up is these are information collected after the fact. So they basically collect information from OEMs and from aftermarket sources, so the junkyards know how to sell a part. So if they're pulling out a part out of, say, a GMC Envoy, the Hollander catalog can tell them that it also fits, a Trailblazer, or it maybe even fits some kind of Buick if it's a sensor or something. So aftermarket catalogs are helpful, and junkyard, websites and even places that sell aftermarket parts like Rock Auto are helpful if you want to verify where something interchanges. Because like Rock Auto, if you pull up a part for a certain car, well, first Rock Auto, you can search by the OEM part number and then go to the info, and it'll tell you all the other OEM part numbers plus all the other cars it fits for common parts. For smaller parts, it's just a lot of it's just knowing, basically, or being, having been, used that part and knowing what it looks like, or what, who manufactured it.
Bozi helped me not get fucked because my Aston Martin Vanquish thermostat was like $300, and it is interchangeable with the 05 Ford GT, which was like $110. It was nice. Works just fine.
A little bit of a difference. And that thermostat was actually built off like a Cummins thermostat housing. Like they changed one pad, and you could technically use like the $18 Cummins thermostat. You would just have to like file it, which I wouldn't do for an Aston. But like that's what it was based off. Like they didn't really like engineer a new part. Like they just changed like one little corner of it where they filed off a piece of a Cummins diesel thermostat.
Yep. Good old Aston Martin.
I guess if it works,
Yeah, no, it did work. It was fine. Ben says, should I buy track wheels, tires, and seats, etc. for my daily driven BMW M2, or should I get a second car, an E46 or C5 Z06, as a track beater? M2 is very fun on the track, but I don't want to keep beating on my daily. I can tow it to the track and no Miatas. Fair question.
My outlook on this has changed over time. When I started out, my thing was let's combine everything as much as possible. But as I've seen racing and as I've seen what can happen, my outlook is now have two separate cars. And it's not even related to race cars. It's also related to project cars. Like my WRX, I don't modify it at all. Like my WRX is my safe daily. Like I changed a couple of small things just to make it more fun to drive, but there's no tune on it. There's nothing on it other than like a brake upgrade and tires. And that is for a purpose. Like if I want to go play with the project car, I'm going to have a separate project car, because I don't want to be in a situation where something I've modified breaks on Sunday, and then on Monday when I need to go to a meeting for something that I can't go to that meeting because the car broke. And that's kind of my outlook, especially with track cars, because you never know what can happen at the track. Like your outlook when you're going to the track needs to be like, I'm going to the track today, I'm going to be as safe as possible, but also I'm going to expect that this car might be totaled before I leave here today. So always, my recommendation is always keep the two separate.
I agree. If you don't have a choice, if you don't have the space or the funds, then and you want to track your car that you have to drive, I would keep it as stock as possible, because a stock car isn't likely to break from just basic track work, unless you crash it, of course. A stock car can be abused pretty badly before you fuck it up. And as to the recommendation, like, yeah, Z06s are great. I drove a spec E46 once. There wasn't an M3. It was a 330 Turner parts on it and a cage, and it was fun and playful. It had the right amount of power and balance. You could slide it, or you could make it understeer or oversteer with the throttle. It was fantastic. I would say get a 330, a spec E46, be a really fun track car. Probably pretty low maintenance.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I don't want to be too dramatic, but like if you want to track your daily, do it in a safe environment as possible. So something like SCCA Track Night in America, which is kind of not as aggressive as open track days, is probably fine for your daily driver. But like if you're going deep into it, second car is always my recommendation.
Yeah. Vlad would like us to know that the highlight of George Russell's really good Formula One weekend is when he said the food's been really nice for his in his interviews.
It's noticeable. Like, yeah, the different teams I worked with, the type of food that's available is noticeable. So, now I try to highlight that if there's good food. And I'm sure that like AMG F1 is like, has to be the top of the chart.
Yeah, I've had the best team food I had. I was with Turner at 24 Hours of Daytona. They had a really nice spread going on. And Audi at Sebring, the Audi tent was really, really, really good. They were great. And some of the stuff that was going on at the, was it Acura? Acura's Long Beach Grand Prix setup was pretty good as well. That was very good. Yeah,
I was going to bring in the Long Beach, but
the
I was
Long
say
Beach Grand Prix.
The actual organization, they have their own little thing, and that's pretty damn nice too.
Best trackside food is the sausages at Road America for sure. Those rule.
Oh, yeah. They're legit. Yeah, I love that stuff. And I mean, sausages at Road America and fried bologna sandwiches at VIR.
Oh,
also, I love fried bologna, and VIR is my home track, so I'm up there a lot. So fried bologna, my go-to.
Fried bologna's G as fuck. Francisco wants to know what parts of the Civic Type R fit the 2020 Honda Accord 1.5T manual. That's a stumper.
So
probably not many.
There are a few parts that interchange, and unfortunately, I haven't gone deep into the 1.5. But if you search, go either to my Pressfolio site or just Google Bozi Civic Type R Jalopnik. I actually did a whole story when the Civic Type R came out and when the Accord came out of exactly what interchanges piece by piece between the two engines. So if you Google that, you should find it for the 2-liter turbo, and the 1.5 liter I think is actually even closer. But the Civic Type R is like the block and stuff is based on the same stuff, but they've done actually decently significant work for some of the parts there, and they are different. Even though it's the same displacement, it's turbocharged, like there are a bunch of pieces that are different, and it's not worthwhile to try to match up the Accord with the parts because there's so many things that you need to change.
Yeah. Just get a Civic Type R.
Yeah, that's like the Accord. If you need a sedan like that, it's a perfect sedan. The Civic Type R has a little more power, so it's either like you want this nice sedan, drive every day, or you want this kind of more boy racer type deal.
Yeah, but the new Civic Type R, the Type R is like big now. It's got like a real back seat. You can fit like 4 adults in it.
And go to Costco.
The Civic is the Accord's biggest problem right now because there's not a lot of argument for the Accord because the Civic holds a bunch of people in shit.
Yeah. I mean, the Civic is probably, interior space is probably very close to, the last generation Accord. Like, I don't think there's a big difference. So, like, if that's the car you need, like, and, like, basically, if you don't care about how the wing looks and how aggressive it looks, like, I would just buy the Civic Type R. Or if you want a fun car, buy the Civic Type R. Like, the Accord 2-liter 6-speed is fun, but, like, it's like the Civic Type R, it's not just about the engine. Like, it's about, like, the whole front suspension. Like, it's really different than any of the other Hondas. And there's a reason it was developed like that. And there's a reason that the Civic Type R makes more torque than, any of these other cars.
Yeah. Bozi, I'm about to fuck up some Eastern European pronunciation.
All right.
Do you know about the legendary Kragujevac?
Okay.
Is that Kragujevac?
Kragujevac.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Kragujevac. Yeah, to Kilimanjaro expedition with Zastava 101s.
I have read about it. I have seen pictures. Yeah. Kragujevac is the city where currently the Fiat 500L is produced. And that factory, before the wars and stuff like that, used to be the Yugo factory.
Oh.
Or the Yugo was a Zastava product. So that's why the expedition, I think one of the reasons why it started there is because it started from the factory and then went to Kilimanjaro, and I think it took a while.
Jay, can you get us some pictures of this?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read about it, but I am familiar with it.
I wonder what is so legendary, just that they drove really far in some fairly terrible cars?
Pretty much. I mean, drove in, kind of basic communist era cars for a very long distance and, made it.
When I was in Europe last, I saw something that I believe was called the Scumball Rally, and it was like Tatras and it was all Eastern Bloc cars, decorated terribly with like luggage on the roofs, like gypsy style.
Hey, if it works, then people find ways to have fun.
Oh my God, look at these terrible fucking cars, bro. These Kragujevac to Kilimanjaro. Look, well, I gotta be honest. It looks like there's some hot women that went on this and that they had a good time. But these cars look rough.
That's basically the cars that we had back then. In the former Yugoslavia when it was communist. Back in the 70s and 80s, and there were some cool models, but there was a lot of kind of communist, very basic transportation that was based on Fiat cars that were just slightly modified and rebranded as Zastavas.
Oh yeah, that front of that, now that you mention it, really is Fiat. Yeah, you're right. That is 100% a leftover Fiat, isn't it? Like, aren't they're building leftover like Volkswagens somewhere as something else, right?
Correct. I mean, they did that. Yeah, they do that in a lot of African countries, and they still do that in China. Like the mid-'80s VW Passat, which was called the Quantum, I think, was built with the facelift in China until like the mid-2000s. There's still a lot, like I think African countries that build like 90s VWs where they basically put like modern headlights on them, but all the rest of the car is the 90s car, like all the sheet metal.
Yeah.
They just put like LEDs inside the old housing. Keep building them because they buy the tooling and it's cheap, so they can do it like that.
It's hilarious. Go back, Jay. Let's see.
I have to make one correction. I'm getting tweets right now. I misspoke. The new BMW that's coming is not the M6 GT3. It's the M4 GT3.
Oh.
So I misspoke there, yeah. So it's not.
Well, the new
M6.
M4 is bigger than the old M6.
Yeah. Sometimes I mix these up, but yeah, it's M4 GT3 is the new model, not M6 GT3.
Okay, our bad. I have the M440 outside as a press car. Did you see it, Jay?
Yeah, it's big. I had the M4 when it first came out, so I'm familiar with this car.
But did you see the new mouth? The beaver mouth?
I don't like it.
It's heinous looking. I cannot believe it left the design studio looking like this.
Have you seen the race car? Y'all just pull up the M4 GT3 race car. Just look at it because they highlighted the map.
Oh,
just look
no.
M4 GT3, just pull it up. You'll see it because they put like lips on it. Like
for
on that
2021, Jay.
Yep.
M4 GT3, just pull it up. Like just Google that. You'll see the
pictures.
second.
The pictures came up with the old car.
Oh
God, it's gone very badly.
You'll see the camo, and then they painted the girl in red. Like they highlighted the worst part. Why would you do this? Like whose idea was it to put the
It
red
looks
on?
like a
for
bloody
sure.
vagina.
Yeah.
It's
I was gonna say lipstick.
it's awful. That looks terrible. Although actually, it looks terrible, but I think it looks worse on the street car I have. It's even more out of place on the street car.
There's chrome on yours, which is
horrid.
is rough.
It's really
rough.
horrid, yeah.
They're like, look at this.
Yeah, it's
look
bad.
over here.
It's bad. Let's go back, Jay. Give me the thing, the other page. Bozi, Patrick says, what are the best biscuits within an hour of you in Guilford County?
Biscuit Factory in High Point. That's number one on my biscuit rankings. It's not even a question.
All right. It's featured prominently on your Twitter.
Yes.
Clay Day Shoots. What non-performance vehicle do you think you'd have the best chance of turning a better ring time than your average professional racing driver that has no experience? Wait. Oh, okay. Non-performance vehicles that you know so well that you could be better at driving them than a pro.
So I'm not going to be better. You guys aren't going to be better. A pro, if you give them a few laps or her a few laps, they're going to be better than us no matter what the car is. So like it's not even a consideration. Like no matter what I do to a car, if there's this small box around it, we're not going to beat pros. So like the pros are going to be faster. It's just, it's a different mindset. It's just a different approach. And working with true pros recently, there's just no competition.
The pros learn way faster. If it takes me 10 laps to get to whatever my best is in a car, a pro could do it in 4, and their best will still be multiple percentage points better than mine, even though they got there way faster. Ray says, Bozi, what car manufacturers still design and produce a lot of their major mechanical components in-house? Vertical integration. Who is best vertically integrated?
There's really not a whole lot. Like Tesla does some of their stuff in-house, but even they use outside suppliers. It's not really advantageous these days to build most of your parts in-house. Like it's better to use tier 1 suppliers that they have knowledge of X part, they only build X part, and they know how to build it well, and they know how to customize it to your needs. So you can just pay them 6-digit amount versus spending an 8-digit amount over here to build a factory for you to build it on your own. So like Tesla has some of like in-house stuff, but even a lot of their stuff, because they don't have huge relationships with tier 1 suppliers, ends up coming from like tier 2 or tier 3 suppliers. So it's not really an advantage. Like I don't see the Apple model really working in cars.
Or the Seiko model, which is a Seiko. I like Seiko because they're vertically integrated. That's like they're the only cheaper watch company that is like that. Gravity Drift says, "What is your favorite K car?" Mine's the AutoZam AZ1.
AutoZam is pretty nice. I would say that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that. I would say it would probably be like a truck or van thing. So maybe, I don't know, something like a Honda Acti or a Subaru Sandbar, something like that. I would actually like to buy one of those when I have, time and funds for it. Just have a little K trucklet or van thing. Just basically, go cruise around in and throw stuff in the back.
They're awesome. The dude who runs Grid Life has an Acti City, I think it's called. That's like the minivan, the K minivan, and it absolutely rules. Yeah. The dude I'm getting my stone from for my new house drives a flatbed. It's not a flatbed. It's like a utility truck, like a mini pickup K car, but it's like, it's got like a landscaper bed on the back of it kind of thing.
Cool.
What do you call that? What do you call that kind of bed?
Utility body?
I guess.
Steak bed?
Steak bed, yeah.
Steak bed. That's right. Yeah, steak bed. Sorry. Thank you. Carlos Chavez says, thoughts on the Corolla XRS? Now that's a fabulous vehicle.
I love the Corolla XRS. I mean, you got Lotus engine just in a different spot on the car, and I mean it's kind of a nice unassuming car for like, you know, somebody that doesn't have a bunch of money to spend but still wants something that's kind of fun to drive.
6-speed manual, limited slip diff, sports suspension, Lotus engine that revs to 8,500 in a Corolla. It's mad fun, actually. I really enjoyed the last Corolla XRS I drove. Could you get the Matrix with a manual? I like the Matrix SRS too. I don't know if it came with a manual though.
I think they did. Some of them did, but I don't know if it's exactly the same setup as in the Corolla with all the, you know, all the stuff inside. But I think there were some Matrix and Pontiac vibes with the
Vibe.
5-speed.
Yeah,
Hey,
the Vibe.
The Vibe. So the Vibe is my template vehicle for crossover or hatchback. So, you know, now everything's being called a hatchback, a crossover, but a lot of them are just really like jacked up hatchbacks.
Right.
So my scale of whether something is a crossover or a hatchback is if it's smaller than a Vibe, it's a hatchback. It's not a crossover. If it's bigger than a Vibe, it can be counted as a crossover.
Right. So like a Mazda CX-3 is probably a hatchback and not a crossover.
Yeah, and like a BMW X2 and like all these other cars are like, some of them are like, even though almost all of like the smaller compact, subcompact crossovers are smaller in length and width than the Vibe, but some of them are even smaller in height. So like the Vibe, a hatchback, had, you know, more ground clearance and more height than things that are called, you know, crossover SUVs now.
That's hilarious. The the crossoverification of everything, but without acknowledging the hatchbacks that came before. It's just like, how can I fit 20s on this little tiny hatchback?
Pretty much, yeah. So I kicked off my I paused press cars for a while just because I was busy with racing, but I kicked it back off a couple of weeks ago, and I just got the Mazda 3 turbo hatch, and that's a really fun car. Like
Magnus had that the other day.
Yeah,
I can imagine Magnus Walker in a Mazda.
I swear to God, he brought it up to the
Get out on Zoom Zoom.
He brought it up. He really did, and it was cool.
It's like a really fun little car. Like it's got the same, you know, that same turbo motor out of the Mazda 6. It's all-wheel drive, and it has like okay-ish tires on it. But like the interior is like really nice for, you know, a little hatch. And I fit. So this shelving unit behind me, I got that in IKEA. I think it's like 7 feet tall. I was able to fit that inside the car and bring it. Yeah. So like it's like, you know, it's a nice car. The only thing is, it would be nice if it was like $3 or $4 grand cheaper. So like the one I have has everything on it, and it's like a little over 35K. Like if it was 30, 31, it would be nice, but 35K gets you, you know, a lot of other cars.
That's a lot of money for a Mazda 3.
Yeah,
straight up. But the CX-5 is still my favorite car to rent. When I travel, I try to rent a CX-5. They're nice, good steering.
See, I live the team life, so we get team vehicles. So it's either, our standard is the Grand Caravan, which the Grand Caravan is nice, and I'm not saying that it'll do front wheel burnouts, but it may do front wheel burnouts. And then the upgrade sometimes we get is the Pacifica. So like that's like most of my track experiences are either Grand Caravan or Pacific.
We did performance van of the year last year at Road and Track, and the Caravan Sport did beat the Pacifica around Thunderhill. The Sienna.
It can go because it doesn't have any of those like stability aids.
Yeah.
So it's wide open. So like however far you want to take it, it'll go. And like
the Sienna would have beat it, but you couldn't disable stability control all the way. It kept coming back on.
And there's a fuse on the Grand Caravan allegedly that you can pull that'll cut off the front wheel speed sensors, so the ECU doesn't know that the wheels are spinning. So you can, you know, go on the gas and it'll do burnouts and won't complain because there's no system to tell you that it's, you know, not supposed to do burnouts.
This sounds ideal. I must know about this sensor.
It's nice.
Last question. This is actually a very good one. Bozi, can you talk more about what separates a pro driver's mentality from amateur or casual drivers? What lessons could the average track day bro learn and apply from a pro driver?
Great question.
That's a good question.
So first, that's probably a better question to ask a pro, because most of the pros that I know and most of the pros I've worked with, they're not just pro drivers. Because of the nature of the business these days, most of these guys have a second, sometimes a third job, unless they're like at the highest level of being a factory pro. So for most of these people, these men and women that drive professionally, their second job is usually as a driving instructor. So they instruct, sometimes they instruct just regular people like us, but in a lot of cases, they instruct amateur drivers that compete in sports car series. So like that's where a good question there would be, is to ask these people, what do you show these amateur drivers to help make them faster? My second point is that a lot of this stuff, you kind of have to be born for it, or you have to do it from a very young age. Because like me, just what I notice in these people is a lot of times you have to be able to focus on what you're doing, and second, you have to have a lack of fear in some cases. And I think that develops from starting first from just being born with that nature to try to tackle, things that seem dangerous. And second, from starting, getting into a race car at a young age, and then practicing and practicing and practicing. So at a young age, you're able to learn, what a race car is doing, what the limits are, and kind of lose that sense of fear to an extent. And then from there, I mean, it's like any other athlete. Like even if you have all of those components, if you're not built for it, if you haven't trained for it over the years, no matter how little fear you have and how much car control you have, if your body isn't trained for it and your mind isn't trained for it, like you're never going to get there. So like me or you or anybody else that hasn't done that professionally for years is not going to do it the same way like me and you can walk onto an NBA basketball game, get training, for a month or two, and then try to compete against those people. It's just, it's a different level of athlete that, has trained for something all their life, has a different skill set, and, something different that they were born with.
I agree. All those things. Starting when you're very young, that helps. Being kind of fearless, super helps. Being a good student, like that helps. Being disciplined, that all helps. The pro drivers I've met and hung out with aren't typically superhuman. They just are a little less afraid than I am, and very well practiced and well trained and well coached, and a lot of seat time. Nobody's born with the ability to drive. Everybody's taught. So it's get a good teacher and then practice what they tell you.
It starts with talent, but it's a lot of practice and a lot of fitness. I mean, people see these drivers go out there and they think, well, they probably drove some time in the simulator, but these people have a strict diet every day. They have exercise, usually, sometimes a couple of times a day. Like it's a very pro athlete lifestyle, and that's all they're focused on. Like that's their main focus. Like it's a complete lifestyle.
Keeping other people out of your head too.
Yeah. Confidence, straight confidence. That's awesome, man. Well, you should definitely follow Bozi both on Twitter and Instagram. It's the Bozi on Twitter, right?
No, it's all Bozi. It's all Bozi Tatarevic now.
Oh, it is? Okay, cool. You centralized.
Yeah, everything. So if you just start searching for Bozi on any platform now, I'm usually like the first or second person that pops up.
Yeah, you're definitely the most famous Bozi on most platforms.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this at dinner once because I had all these different screen names for all these platforms, and you were like, it's much better to have kind of, just the same name across everything. And then some other friends suggested, maybe it'd be nice, to do it. And I was like, my name's complicated to spell, but then I realized like that might actually be helpful because like there's no other Bozis that are, people are going to search for. So, if you start searching Bozi T, I'm usually the first one that pops up, and people know to look for, Bozi Tatarevic on, both platforms and, wherever else I may pop up.
All you need is for the first half of autofill. It works. It work well. Yeah.
I think I've quadrupled or quintupled the amount of Twitter followers since the last time I was on the show.
Oh, good. Nice. Someone approached me on it. Someone sent me an email yesterday and said, I have available for sale the Instagram name Matt. Would you like to buy it? At Matt. Yeah, at Matt. And I just said no, but I don't even know why I didn't ask how much they wanted.
I was curious.
They must have. I mean, it's got to be millions. Millions.
Yeah,
it's got to be millions of dollars.
You should email back, be like, I have $5,000 that I can offer.
WCCS.com was $5,000.
That's not bad.
It's
I mean,
not.
for your four-letter name.
Starting with W. 4 letters starting with W is because W is like, think about TV stations, right? Or radio stations. Is it K is radio, W is TV?
No, it's they're both
backwards?
K and W, but it's the dividing line is the Mississippi River. believe it
Get
or
the
not.
fuck
Yeah,
out of
so
here.
where
Is that
we grew
true?
up, they were all W's, and out here they're all K's.
No way.
I swear to God.
Oh.
Story.
I didn't
They're
know that at
W's
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the local
So
TV
it's
is
what's KTLA out here, and it was WPIX at
It
home.
literally has never occurred to me that it was divided that way
Yeah.
ever. Oh,
I've learned
It's like
something.
Hellman's and Best Foods.
Ha! You just taught Bozi something.
Yeah, good job. See, you provided a benefit because I know
You invited the TV guy. What are you going to get?
Oh
Nice.
man. Well, I'm glad you centralized power on one handle. That's good for you. And I'm glad your brother is really looking very fit and is in between the G, T, and L portions of his day.
He's been training. So we set up like a little mini gym in our garage. So we have like old tires and all this other stuff. So we just train like
The old country. You just throw trash around.
This
tire.
Like all this other random stuff that we just built up so we can train, so we can do it on our own, and it works out. So he like I do stuff in the morning for like some of the stuff I do with some of the other industries I work in, and he's like just chilling at the bar downstairs with the blanket on, like trading stocks. So like, all right, cool, it's nice.
Seems like you guys got it figured out, man. You guys got it. I hope when we can travel again recreationally that you come out to Los Angeles and spend some time with us at the shop, because I think you would find it very interesting. And we've got some weird ass cars in this bitch.
I'm sure you could just like open it up at like 6 a.m. and just leave me in there for 10 hours, and I'll just wander, and then we can go to dinner.
That's
completely
yeah.
fine with me.
Totally
Yeah,
fine. We can do that. Absolutely, yeah. If you need somewhere to
that's
keep your car, WCCS.com.
There you go. Yeah. Top of my list.
Absolutely. I'll see you on Twitter, Bose. It was good having you here, man. We'll
Appreciate the invite, man. Hopefully we see each other soon.
absolutely tell your brother to take care of himself better than he even has been so far. And I hope that Lexus fucking gets some podiums next year. I can't wait to see it.
I'm looking forward to it. My best to Hannah and the cats.
Thank you. The cats will be good. There'll be updates on Instagram soon.
Awesome.
Bozi
All right.
on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Well, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your donations and your super chat questions. And we will see you guys later on our next show. Peace.